Part 29. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 281. Sun Zhenqiu was really fast and resolute in his work. He signed the rental agreement with the property management company in the afternoon. He asked Zhang Chen to help them design their office and also asked him to help introduce decoration companies. Zhang Chen recommended Mr. Tan's company. Sun Zhenqiu said, "Okay, what you introduced by Mr. Zhang must be correct. Can you ask him to come over? We will decide the matter on the spot." Zhang Chen called Mr. Tan, and Mr. Tan came over. Together with Sun Zhenqiu, they finalized the decoration matter on the spot. Sun Zhenqiu and Mr. Tan said, "Your construction quality can't be wrong if Mr. Zhang endorses it for you. One requirement is to start construction as soon as possible and complete it as soon as possible. The leaders of our superior bank and our president are still waiting to cut the ribbon for the opening." Mr. Tan promised Sun Zhenqiu that there would be no problem. "As long as the drawings from Mr. Zhang come out and you confirm them, I will come in immediately." "You don't need to wait for the drawings, you can come in tomorrow," Sun Zhenqiu and Mr. Tan said. "The whole place is going to be demolished. You can send people in first to demolish it tomorrow." Mr. Tan was a little embarrassed. He had never done such a project before. The drawings had not been produced, the project payment had not been negotiated, and the agreement had not been signed. His own people entered the site and started construction. Sun Zhenqiu looked at Mr. Tan and knew why he was hesitating. Sun Zhenqiu said, "Mr. Tan, when Mr. Zhang endorses you, he also endorses me. Just enter the market boldly. As for the cost, this time-sensitive job will definitely be higher than normal. As long as it is not too high, it's okay if I'm in trouble, and there's no problem with the payment method, just prepayment plus payment according to the progress of the project. I'll arrange the advance payment tomorrow, and pay later, and Mr. Liu's signature will do. Is there any problem with this, Mr. Tan?" Sun Zhenqiu asked Mr. Tan. "Refreshing, no problem." Mr. Tan smiled. "In 1 week, can Mr. Zhang help me take out the design drawings?" "I'll wait here." Sun Zhenqiu asked Zhang Chen. Before Zhang Chen said anything, Lu Ligan and Mr. Tan started laughing. Mr. Tan knew that this kind of project, with a single closed space design, was a small project for Zhang Chen. It would not last a week. Zhang Chen and Sun Zhenqiu agreed that I would do it as soon as possible. Mr. Tan was the host in the evening and invited them to dinner in Kaijiangchun. This time, Lin Yiyan and Lu Yun did not come. The table was full of men. Sun Zhenqiu and Chen Qiang also prevented Mr. Tan from ordering foreign wine. Sun Zhenqiu said that they were all their own. "We will mainly focus on getting drunk today, no pomp, regardless of age. Mr. Tan is also shameless, no one who is not drunk will be allowed to leave." Mr. Tan slapped the table and shouted, "Okay, I like this." Except for Zhang Chen, everyone knew that he had to work at night. They thought of a plan and let him go. They only ordered 2 bottles of beer for him. The others took what they wanted. Those who liked Maotai flavor ordered Maotai, and those who liked strong beer ordered Wulianjai for the fragrant version, and Chen Qiang wanted the light-flavored version and ordered Fenjiu. "The height must be above 50 degrees, Mr. Tan said to the waiter. Yes, Mr. Tan is right. The low-alcohol wine is boring to drink. It's just high-alcohol wine mixed with water. It's better for us to mix it ourselves," Sun Zhenqiu shouted. 5 people ordered 3 different kinds of liquor, but when they drank it, you poured it for me and I poured it for you, and everything got messed up. After the meal was finished and no one had fallen down, Mr. Tan suggested changing the battlefield and continuing to fight. Li Yang agreed, "Let's go to Palmador and we must let the pole drag the boat to the destination today." Chen Qiang and Zhang Chen laughed wildly. Mr. Tan and Sun Ho didn't know what the joke was. Chen Qiang told them that you will find out when you get to the Palmador. When they got downstairs, Jiang Chen said goodbye to them, saying that he was going back to come up with a plan. The other people knew that this was a big deal, so they didn't force it. The five of them took Mr. Tan's car and left. Chaojiang Spring Hotel is diagonally opposite Wanghai Building, upstairs in Haikan International Commercial Building. Jiang Chen walked across Haixia Road, returned to the office first, put the things he should bring back into his bag, and then walked back. On the way back, Jiang Chen was thinking about Lu Ligan's company's decoration plan, and he basically had a final decision in his mind. At that time, the decoration style of Hainan office buildings was European classical style. They liked to decorate the top corners with a large number of plaster lines and ancient Roman-style decorations. They also liked to have various blinds and blinds in the interior. On both sides, Corinthian or female statue-style columns are used, and the upholstery and furniture are also British or Gothic. The whole thing is a hodgepodge. This is probably the aristocratic living environment that those nouveau riche who have just wiped off the motor oil on their hands, or walked out of the mud fields, washed the mud off their feet, put down their trousers, put on their leather shoes, and made money, think of the aristocratic living environment. There is also a central head style, with dark red doors and door frames, dark red wood panel skirts, and a large dark red bookcase with glass doors behind the dark red desk. He has a solemn and dull feeling, which makes you feel his arrogance as soon as you walk into his office. These two decoration styles are both vulgar in Jiang Chen's opinion. He decided that the style of the entire office should be simple and fashionable. The large space and bright light make people feel full of vitality, which is also in line with the concept of real estate. The characteristics of the emerging industry are more in line with Sun Ho's pursuit of style but not luxury, which is refreshing. The last time Jiang Chen and Lu Ligan went to Mr. Xie's factory, they saw a set of office furniture that Mr. Xie bought from Hong Kong. It was a combination of stainless steel and black walnut, including desks, cabinets, sofas, coffee tables, conference tables, etc. Wait, Jiang Chen liked them as soon as he saw them, but it was obvious that these were high-end goods, and they must have been expensive when Mr. Xie bought them, so Jiang Chen did not touch them. But they have always been engraved in Jiang Chen's mind. He felt that this set of furniture could support the entire office and was consistent with the style he wanted to design. Lu Ligan did not deserve the set of furniture at the time, but now he does. You can ask Mr. Xie to buy it. It would be a pity not to use such a good thing. With this set of furniture and the abstract paintings on the walls, you can set the tone of the entire office. All partitions are made of glass with grey Venetian blinds, which can meet the needs of privacy. The entire ceiling does not use gypsum boards or aluminum gussets, but is painted with white latex paint like the walls, leaving the bold English letters of R embedded in white plexiglass, with fluorescent tubes inside. On the floor, the large space uses a grey homogeneous and transparent plastic floor, and the small office uses a light grey loop pile carpet. On the way from Wanghai Tower to Wenming East, Jiang Chen had already considered it. He returned home and opened the door. It was dark inside. Xiaolin and Kejin did not come back. This was normal. After all, it was still early. What surprised Jiang Chen was that the third floor was also dark. Jiang Chen thought, Gu Shufang was alone at home. Could it be that she was sick? When he called her in the evening and told her that she would not come back for dinner, he heard her voice sounding weak. Jiang Chen quickly quickened his pace and went up to the third floor, only to find that the doors on the third floor were closed and it was dark inside. Jiang Chen knocked on the doors of the living room and bedroom, but there was no response, so he breathed a sigh of relief. I knew she was out. Jiang Chen returned to the second floor, went to his room first, took a towel, went to the bathroom to take a shower, changed clothes, and then went to the office. He moved the easel and the required materials from the room to the office. Fix the lead drawing paper on the drawing board and start drawing. You're back so early. I thought you would be late. I don't know when. Gu Shufang came back, stood at the door, and asked with a smile. Zhangchen, he said, yes, they went to sing. I have something to do, I will come back first. Gu Shufang said, you are not at home, I went to the street to buy something. Zhangchen nodded. Gu Shufang came over, looked at the drawing board, and asked, what is this? Zhangchen told Gu Shufang about Lu Ligan's company. Gu Shufang understood. She said, they will be back soon. Let's go upstairs to paint. Don't be bored here in such hot weather. Zhangchen knew that she was referring to Xiaolin and Kejin. Zhangchen agreed, and Gu Shufang helped him move everything to the living room upstairs. Gu Shufang turned on the air conditioner, and the two hugged for a while. Gu Shufang said, after walking a little, I started to sweat. Go take a shower first. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Niang. Chapter 282. Gu Shufang took a bath, changed into a nightgown, and walked back. Down below, Xiaolin had come back and was howling. Gu Shufang closed the door, looked at Zhangchen, and found that Zhangchen was also watching her walk in. The two of them understood each other. With a smile, Gu Shufang walked over, and the two hugged for a while. Zhangchen lowered his voice and said to her, I am going to finish the painting tonight, and it will be very late. You should go to bed first. Gu Shufang shook her head, no, I like to watch you draw. She combed her hair that was not completely dry, walked to the chair at the back, and sat down. The chair was very big. She curled up on one side of the chair and quietly watched Zhangchen draw. After watching for a while, she thought, thinking that Zhangchen must be tired, or she couldn't help herself, she stood up, walked over quietly like a cat, hugged Zhangchen from behind, and pressed her face against his back. Zhangchen put down his pen, turned around, and the two hugged again. Gu Shufang smiled softly, I won't disturb you anymore, just go ahead and draw. Zhangchen also smiled. Gu Shufang returned to the chair, still curled up on one side, holding a cushion to her chest, watching quietly. After a while, she came over again. Zhangchen felt that the timing of her arrival was always just right, as if it was just the right time. He came during the intermission, and he just missed her a little in his heart. Before he could look back, her hands softly wrapped around his waist. At about 1 o'clock, Gu Shufang stood up, walked to Zhangchen's side, leaned close to his ear, and whispered to him, paint well, I will make you a midnight snack, and walked out after saying that. Only then did Zhangchen feel that he was indeed hungry. 10 minutes later, Gu Shufang came back and brought him a large bowl of seafood noodles with plenty of toppings, including shrimps, crabs, squid rings, scallops, and a few small abalones. Zhangchen tasted it and found the taste. It was very delicious. At the moment, he didn't care whether it looked good or not, and ate it with a slurp. Gu Shufang smiled softly and kept shouting from the side, slow down, eat slower. I can't help it, it's so delicious that I can't slow down, Zhangchen said. Zhangchen finished a large bowl of noodles in a few minutes. Gu Shufang took the bowl out and Zhangchen picked up the brush and continued painting. When Gu Shufang came back, she continued to sit on the chair and watch. She also felt strange. She was just sitting and watching Zhangchen draw. Why didn't she feel sleepy at all? Zhangchen painted until more than 3 o'clock, and finally finished the painting. Gu Shufang came over, Zhangchen hugged her, and the two of them stared at the drawing board. Zhangchen asked, how was it? Gu Shufang sighed, I really hope I can work there. Zhangchen found that when Gu Shufang evaluated the quality, she would always put herself into it. Looking at the renderings of the Bayview Hotel, she would say, I must go to this hotel to stay. Looking at this picture, she said that she hopes very much. Work here. Zhangchen smiled softly. Knowing that she really liked her, he turned his head and kissed her on the forehead. Gu Shufang pointed to the renderings and asked softly, "When this is over, you come back to Suzhou with me, and we can open a company like this, okay?" Zhang Chen was stunned for a moment. Although he was with Gu Shufang every day and liked her from the bottom of his heart, Zhang Chen never thought about returning to Suzhou with her. But in fact, this is something he has to face. The Wanghai Tower project will be completed in a few months. Gu Shufang has told Zhang Chen more than once that as soon as this place is over, she will return to Suzhou immediately. She couldn't bear to stay in Haikan for one more day. When Gu Shufang said this, she would add another sentence, "Fortunately, I have you, thank you." Zhang Chen understood. It turned out that it had long been part of Gu Shufang's plan to follow her back to Suzhou, but he had never even thought about it. Just muddle along like this? Gu Shufang glanced at Zhang Chen and asked, "What are you thinking about?" Zhang Chen shook his head and concealed it, "I didn't think about anything, I'm just a little sleepy." Gu Shufang said, They returned to the bedroom. Zhang Chen wanted to set the alarm clock, but Gu Shufang said no, "Just sleep well and I'll call you at noon." Zhang Chen thought about it, and there would be nothing going on in the morning at the construction site. Sun Ho and Lu Ligan didn't know whether they had gone home or not. When they got up, it would be almost noon, and Zhang Chen listened to Gu Shufang. At noon, Gu Shufang woke Zhang Chen up and asked him to wash his face, brush his teeth and have lunch. When Zhang Chen walked to the bathroom, he habitually looked down. Gu Shufang smiled softly and said, "What time is it?" They left early. In the restaurant, Gu Shufang had already prepared the meal. Zhang Chen saw that Gu Shufang's eyes were a little red and swollen, and said with pity, "I can just have a quick snack on the way, you don't have to get up to cook." "How is this possible?" Gu Shufang said, "with me here, I have to make sure that you are not only full, but also well fed. You can't be careless. Besides, I have a whole afternoon to catch up on your sleep." After dinner, Zhang Chen and Gu Shufang hugged each other goodbye and walked toward Wanghai Tower with the album on their backs. The question that was still on their minds along the way was, Gu Shufang was going back to Suzhou, should he go with her? Emotionally, he felt that he could not live without Gu Shufang, but intellectually, they went to Suzhou. What would be the final result? You must know that Gu Shufang is alone here. When she is with her, it is a world of two people. When she returns to Suzhou, she not only has parents, but also a daughter, and her daughter is almost as tall as herself. How can I live with them? Another point is that my career in Haikan has just started. I have a good start. It is time to show my ambitions. Should I just give up like this? Especially now that Lu Ligan has made a good start, Zhang Chen feels that this is the time when they can encourage each other, support each other, and compete with each other, so he is willing to leave like this. Zhang Chen was so overwhelmed that he walked to the office and couldn't think of a result. Zhang Chen dialed the number of Lu Ligan's office, but the phone kept busy. He grabbed Lu Ligan. When Lu Ligan came back, Zhang Chen asked, "You haven't gone to the office yet?" "My office is gone." Ah, Zhang Chen was startled, and then he remembered that Mr. Tan's people had already entered the venue. "Old Tan so fast?" Zhang Chen asked. "Yes, my office was completely demolished in one morning. Now Sun Ho and I are here in Qiang." "I've already done it here," Zhang Chen said, "how about we meet at Lao Tan's place?" Lu Ligan shouted, "So fast?" When Lu Ligan answered the phone, he pressed the speakerphone. Sun Ho also heard the content of their call. He was a little surprised when Zhang Chen said that he was fine. He couldn't help but give a thumbs up, flexed twice, and then nodding, Lu Ligan and Zhang Chen said, Sun Ho also said, "Great. Let's go to Lao Tan's place right now." After putting down the phone, Zhang Chen called several team leaders and CAO walking over to explain the matters on the construction site. Then he walked to Wuzishan Road with the picture folder on his back and called a taxi to Huaxin Building. When Zhang Chen arrived, Lu Ligan and Sun Ho were already in Mr. Tan's office. The three of them were sitting there, waiting anxiously for Zhang Chen. As soon as Zhang Chen walked in, Lu Ligan snatched his painting folder. The three of them walked to the conference table. Lu Ligan quickly opened the folder and saw the renderings inside. Sun Chenkuo slapped the table and shouted, "No problem, this is it." Mr. Tan stood on the side and nodded frequently. Sun Chenkuo and Mr. Tan said, "Okay, what should we do next?" Mr. Tan looked at Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen understood and said with a smile, "Okay, I will send the Buddha to the west and ask Xiao Xiao to help me. I haven't done it for a long time and my hand is raw." Xiao Xiao is the cashier of Tan Corporation. Zhang Chen understands that Mr. Tan just looked at him and wanted him to help with the project budget. Indeed, except Zhang Chen, no one else can do this budget. What can you do? If you don't know what materials the place uses, how can you figure out the price? Asking Xiao Xiao to help, Zhang Chen knew that Sun Ho was still waiting for the quotation and signed the contract with Mr. Tan, which he needed to complete as soon as possible. Having someone to help calculate could save him a lot of time. Zhang Chen and Xiao Xiao were in the conference room, calculating the budget for more than an hour. Zhang Chen and Xiao Xiao said, "Go and ask Mr. Tan to come over." Xiao Xiao understands that before giving the budget to the client, Mr. Tan must first review it to see if there is anything that needs to be added or subtracted. Mr. Tan followed Xiao Xiao in, and Zhang Chen gave him the budget. Mr. Tan took a look at it and understood that Zhang Chen knew that the work was tight and the workers needed to work overtime. The budget had been relaxed a little. He said yes, so be it. Mr. Tan and Zhang Chen returned to Mr. Tan's office. Mr. Tan gave Sun Chenkuo the budget and told him that because he had to meet the construction deadline, labor and materials would be more expensive than usual, so the budget was a little wider. "I understand," Sun Chenkuo said. "Also, in some places, there may be additions during actual construction," Zhang Chen and Sun Ho said. "No problem, the pole will be fixed when the time comes," Sun Ho said. "I still say what I said, as long as it is not outrageous, we will have no problem here. Mr. Tan, you just need to give me a guarantee of time." "I can guarantee this," Mr. Tan said. "Okay, no more talking, let's sign," Sun Ho said. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 283. Sun Ho stayed in Haikan for another day. Lu Ligan went to the Industrial and Commercial Bureau and received the business license of Hainan Jinghai Real Estate Co., Limited. Sun Ho copied the license and told Lu Ligan and the others, "Okay, this time I can." It was said that the task was completed ahead of schedule. "I thought I would stay in Haikan for more than a week, but it turned out that it would only take 3 days. I can return to Beijing tomorrow. I'm in Beijing, waiting for your good news. When I come back, there will be a large army," Sun Ho and Lu Ligan said. Sun Ho booked a flight back to Beijing at noon the next day. That night, he wanted to treat everyone to dinner. Lu Ligan called Zhang Chen to inform him. Zhang Chen took advantage of the opportunity, borrowed Cao Kuoking's bicycle, and ran back to civilization. A trip east. When Gu Shufang saw him, she said hey and wondered, "Why are you back now?" Zhang Chen and Gu Shufang said, "I will tell you when I come back. I will not go home for dinner at night." In addition, Zhang Chen originally wanted to say, "I miss you too," but he felt coy for a while and didn't say it. He estimated that after eating, Li Yong, Mr. Tan, Sun Ho, and the others would not give up. Everyone knew that he was fine today, and it was impossible to let him go. Zhang Chen and Gu Shufang said that they might come back very late tonight. Gu Shufang touched Zhang Chen's face and told him not to drink too much. Zhang Chen promised, but what he thought in his heart was that this should be impossible. The two hugged each other and said goodbye. Zhang Chen was a bit naughty and refused to leave. Gu Shufang pushed him away with a smile and said angrily, "Let's go, don't be so useless, it's not a life or death separation." At around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Chen Qiang received a call from Sun Ho's girlfriend. On the phone, she hurriedly told Chen Qiang that Sun Ho's father was hospitalized. The specific condition of his condition has not yet been determined. "You ask Sun Ho to come back immediately." Chen Qiang put down the phone and went to find Sun Ho immediately. Li Yang's office was not there. When he got upstairs, he saw Sun Ho, Lu Ligan, and Mr. Tan standing in the elevator hall chatting. Chen Qiang told Sun Ho about the phone call. Sun Ho became anxious as soon as he heard it. He was anxious to get to the airport regardless of whether he had a ticket or not. Mr. Tan quickly said, "I will take you there." Chen Qiang and Lu Ligan said, "I will go with Mr. Tan and the others, and you can call Li Yong and ride over on a motorcycle." Lu Ligan said yes and entered the elevator. Lu Ligan stopped on the floor of Chen Qiang's company. The other three went directly to the first floor. Lu Ligan called the paging station and left a message for Zhang Chen, telling him that Sun Ho was leaving and asked him to go directly to the airport. After hanging up the phone, Lu Ligan and Li Yong also hurriedly went downstairs. Sun Ho and the others rushed to the airport. Fortunately, there were still tickets for the 8:40 p.m. flight to Beijing. Sun Ho bought the tickets. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan also arrived, looking at a large group of people surrounding them. His good brother, Sun Ho said apologetically, "I can only owe you for dinner tonight." Chen Qiang cursed, "At this time, there is no need to eat. If we don't eat this meal, we will die." "Yes, I will starve to death." Seeing everyone's serious expressions, Sun Ho smiled and said, "It's okay. My wife just likes to make a fuss. When I return to Beijing, maybe the old man will have been discharged from the hospital and gone home." "I hope so." Li Yong hugged Sun Ho. Mr. Tan saw that it was still early, so he suggested going outside to eat something on Airport Road. Sun Ho said yes, the food on the plane is not generally unpalatable, let's go for a walk, and finally have some Hainan SF flavor. When they arrived at Airport Road, Li Yong suggested having hot pot. Anyway, there was still time. Sun Ho objected immediately. He said no. After eating the hot pot, he was covered with the smell of hot pot and it was still spicy. Now that they were on the plane, what if there was a beautiful woman sitting next to him? Wouldn't it be a big loss? Li Yong scolded, "If it's a Sichuan beauty, like my sister, you've earned it. If you smell this spicy smell, you'll have a chance. Drop it." During my few years in college, I suddenly changed from a person who would cry when eating pickled mustard to a person who must order red pot when eating hot pot. I didn't have a chance to eat it. When Sun Ho scolded like this, he looked at Lu Ligan and everyone laughed. In the end, Sun Ho chose the noodle shop where Lu Ligan and Huang Meili had eaten that day. He said that a bowl of noodle soup and a few pieces of wenchang chicken would be very good. 6 people entered the noodle shop. Mr. Tan and Li Yong were fighting over it. In the end, Mr. Tan had the upper hand. He ordered 6 bowls of noodle soup and a table of cold dishes. After ordering, he ran out without anyone knowing. What was he going out for? After a while, he came back, carrying a roast goose and 2 red flower crabs as big as a fish waste plate. Li Yong shouted, "Awesome, Mr. Tan, where did you find such good stuff?" Mr. Tan chuckled and said, "I know there is a Chaozhou barbecue restaurant nearby. Their roast goose and frozen crabs are good." Everyone sat together, not drinking, but each person got a bottle of Coca-Cola and started drinking. After eating, the 6 of them returned to the terminal and accompanied Sun Ho to apply for a boarding pass. Sun Ho looked at the time and saw that it was already past 7 o'clock. He told them, "You all can go back. I'll go in and take a nap, anyway, I will come to Hiken often in the future." Everyone sent Sun Ho to the security check and broke up. Mr. Tan sent Chen Qiang and Li Yong back to the company. Lu Ligan took Zhang Chen to Wanghai Tower. He rode to the door of the construction site towards Wuzishan Road and wanted to turn in. "Zhang Chen," he shouted, "put me down and go." He knew that Lu Ligan was going to Lu Yun's place. Zhang Chen walked towards the office. "Brother Zhang Chen," someone shouted from behind and rang a series of bells. Zhang Chen knew it was Yilin without looking back. Yilin rode up to Zhang Chen's side and stopped the car. After jumping out of the car, Zhang Chen asked him, "How are you practicing now? You can fight with senior brother Cao. Win more than lose more." Yilin said sheepishly, "I still lose every day. When he wasn't paying attention, I was able to successfully sneak in and win once or twice. That's great. After all, he is an adult and is much taller than you. Come on, I'm optimistic about you, Yilin." Yilin said thank you, got on the car, kicked a few times, and jumped out of the car. He was already at the door of the practice hall. Looking at Yilin's back, Zhang Chen thought to himself that he would remind Cao Qiang tomorrow that during the fight, he should use his weaknesses from time to time to let Yilin win a few more times. This would encourage his morale. Zhang Chen thought again, if Xiao Wu were here, he would definitely object to him doing this. In Xiao Wu's view, training is actual combat. People will let you here, but no one will let you go out. Zhang Chen couldn't figure out whether he was right or Xiao Wu was right. Zhang Chen went to several construction sites. Everything was normal and nothing happened. Zhang Chen returned to the office, sorted out the documents that needed to be brought back, and put them in his bag. He decided to go back early to give Gu Shufang a surprise. At this time, the sidewalks on Hixia Road near Wanghai Tower and Hiken Hotel were full of people. Those ding-dongs standing on the roadside used all their charms, teasing others or bargaining playfully. This kind of banter became real as they talked. The men turned around and left, and the women followed. Behind him, if they confirm that the other person is a guest from mainland China, staying in a nearby hotel, they will simply hold their hands generously. No one paid attention to Zhang Chen. This man who passed by them every day was a familiar face, but they all regarded him as just air. They knew that even if this guy drank too much, he would not be their guest. Even the Zhejiang fellows who shine shoes, no one will solicit his business. They know that although this guy's shoes are covered with a layer of dust every night, and they can tell at a glance what construction site he is at, but he passes by every morning. When they were in front of them, their leather shoes were shiny. Damn it, if everyone was as diligent as this guy, we shoe shiners wouldn't even be able to afford soup. What they didn't know was that there was a woman behind this man. That woman wouldn't even allow him to clean his shoes outside. Every morning, while making breakfast, she would wipe his leather shoes carefully. When Zhang Chen was about to reach the door of Hiken Hotel, his eyes lit up, and then he stood behind a coconut tree. He saw Gu Shufang walking through the triangle area and walking towards the side. Gu Shufang was walking with a straight face. With her chest raised, her chin slightly raised, her gaze fixed, and her expression somewhat arrogant, even if Zhang Chen walked very close, she might not see him. Zhang Chen waited. He looked around to see if there were any familiar people around. He decided to scare Gu Shufang when she approached. But Gu Shufang did not approach. She walked to the door of Hiken Hotel, looked both ways, turned around and walked in. Zhang Chen felt strange. What was she doing in Hiken Hotel at this time? What would be in here? Where would she need to go? The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, MaleProtagonist. Chapter 284. Zhang Chen couldn't help but followed him. He saw Gu Shufang walking into the lobby of Hiken Hotel. The layout of the lobby of Heiken Hotel is an inverted L shape. After entering the gate, there is a hall on the left. In the hall are the front desk, customer rest area and lobby bar. On the right, facing the gate, there is a wide corridor with along on both sides of the corridor are hair salons, tourist souvenir shops and travel agency stores, as well as a tea bar and a 24-hour Hainan SF flavor shop. At the end of this corridor is the passenger elevator for passengers to go up and down the stairs. Zhang Chen saw Gu Shufang walking into the lobby. He did not turn to the front desk or the lobby bar, but walked directly through the corridor and walked to the passenger elevator. Zhang Chen followed behind. He saw Gu Shufang reach out and press the elevator button. Up button, and then stood there, looking both ways. The moment she turned around and was about to look behind, Zhang Chen quickly ducked into the tea bar next to her. Zhang Chen's heart was beating wildly. He thought that Gu Shufang was probably here to see some relatives and friends from out of town. It would be too embarrassing if she found out that he was following her. After 4 or 5 minutes, Zhang Chen poked his head out of the tea bar and looked over there. He saw that there was no one at the elevator entrance, and Gu Shufang had already entered the elevator and went upstairs. Zhang Chen breathed a sigh of relief. Zhang Chen walked outside, but he was very confused in his heart. He was very curious about who Gu Shufang would come to see when she came here. Gu Shufang had almost no friends in Hainan. When they were together, Zhang Chen never saw her taking calls from anyone. She had a Motorola Chinese BB player like Zhang Chen, but the BB player was thrown on the wine cabinet in the restaurant. I usually don't even look at it. The occasional beep sound is also the weather forecast sent by the paging station. More likely, Zhang Chen thought it would be her relatives and friends from Suzhou. But, why have I never heard her say it? The relationship between Zhang Chen and Gu Shufang has reached the point where they talk about everything in detail. Gu Shufang's daily life is as calm as water. If anyone comes from the mainland and wants to see her, this should be a major event in Gu Shufang's daily life. Not only will she definitely tell Zhang Chen, but she will also start making arrangements for it a few days in advance. There is no reason why she should not receive guests well when visiting her hometown. Regardless of her personal life or her relationship with Mr. Fu, her old family members don't know. In the eyes of her old family members, Gu Shufang is a big shot in Heiken. She does have this ability. Can arrange their trip in Hainan properly. All she needed was a phone call to arrange for them to go to Wanghai Tower. Up and down Wanghai Tower, no one dared not sell her face, not even Mr. Fu dared to say a word. Yes, why did she arrange for them to stay in this Heiken hotel? The more Zhang Chen thought about it, the weirder he got. When he reached the front lobby, he turned around and walked to the lobby bar. He found a dimly lit corner. From here, he could see that if Gu Shufang came out of the corridor and walked out, or if she walked to the front desk, he can see clearly, but she should not be able to see herself. Zhang Chen thought to himself that if it were relatives and friends, when Gu Shufang left, they would definitely send her downstairs or even out the door. Zhang Chen wanted to see who Gu Shufang came here to see. The waiter brought him the coffee he asked for. Zhang Chen suddenly laughed. The waiter was a little surprised. She looked at him and then at the coffee. Zhang Chen quickly told her, "It's okay, you can go." What Zhang Chen laughed at was that he suddenly wanted to understand why Gu Shufang was so mysterious and didn't arrange for people to go to Wanghai Tower or tell him. He thought that the people upstairs should be her parents or daughter. Of course she didn't want Mr. Fu to know that they were here, and she didn't want to let herself know, let alone introduce herself to her parents and daughter. This, how should I put it, who are you? But Zhang Chen decided to wait here until they appeared. He wanted to see them. Zhang Chen sat there and waited for more than 2 hours. It was past 10 o'clock. Fortunately, people were coming and going in Heiken Hotel and the lobby bar, which made people not feel that the night was late or that the passage of time was boring. Jiang Chen looked at all kinds of men, especially those men with girls who looked like flowers and butterflies, with great interest. Gu Shufang finally appeared. What surprised Jiang Chen was that she was alone. She came out of the corridor, did not stop in the hall, but walked out directly. The light in the lobby was very bright, and Jiang Chen could see clearly. He saw that Gu Shufang's face was a little flushed, and her hair was a little wet. She had obviously taken a bath in the room upstairs. She was still like that, with her chest raised, her chin raised slightly, her eyes straight, and she walked out of the door a little proudly. After exiting the door, she turned right, turned towards the east direction of civilization, and left. Jiang Chen quickly asked the waiter to pay the bill. After paying the bill, he was about to leave and chase Gu Shufang, but when he stood there, he was suddenly stunned. He saw Xiao Su coming out of the corridor. Instead of walking out of the door, he turned to the front desk, handed the keycard back to the waiter, paid the bill, and left. Jiang Chen saw that his hair was still a little wet. Jiang Chen fell down on the sofa. At this moment, he understood everything. He understood why Gu Shufang stayed at home, and she knew everything about Wanghai Tower. He understood why Gu Shufang knew even the 250,000 yuan. This was not because she was a good accountant as she said, but because someone told her. He understood why he went home a few days ago and there was no one at home. That day was just like today. Gu Shufang also thought that he would go home very late. He felt that he even understood why it was so dark and quiet upstairs for so many days. He understood why, after so many years, Mr. Fu was so upset when he saw Gu Shufang. He thought she was proficient in finance and familiar with all his private transactions. He didn't expect that she was good at running secret agents and was the one Hai Bassian trusted the most. The disciples and cronies slept in Gu Shufang's bed. What secrets do you have? Jiang Chen understood more clearly that he was not Gu Shufang's only lover. In terms of seniority, he also had to be ranked behind Xiao Su. He felt that he and Xiao Su were like double insurance for Gu Shufang, and they were also two lobsters. A huge turtle, one on the left and one on the right, clamped Hai Bassian tightly. Jiang Chen sat there, his face pale, but he felt extremely sick in his heart. He wanted to vomit, but he couldn't. These two people with wet hair might have been taking a bath together just now, if he hadn't just bumped into them. The secret is that when I go back, I will still embrace this body. Damn you. You still want to surprise others, but you didn't expect others to give you enough shock. It's not fright, it's shock. It's so shocking that you can't be more shocked. Jiang Chen didn't know how he left the lobby. He walked to the door and almost bumped into someone. He heard the other person calling him and stared blankly. After a while, he realized what was happening in front of him. People are all good. Jia saw Jiang Chen's pale face and asked, "Brother Jiang Chen, what's wrong with you?" Jiang Chen shook his head. He said it was nothing. I am getting ready to go back." "What are you doing here?" Jia asked. Jiang Chen saw that Jia's hair was also a little wet, and felt nauseous again. "Damn it, why do people have wet hair today?" Jiang Chen almost whispered, "I came to see a friend." Jia stretched out her hand and touched Jiang Chen's forehead. There was no fever. Jia breathed a sigh of relief and sniffed. He didn't smell of alcohol. Jia was worried, but asked, "Brother Jiang Chen, have you drank?" Jiang Chen shook his head, "No, I just drank Coke and coffee." "Brother Jiang Chen, where are you going?" "Do you want me to take you there?" Jia said, "or, I'll call Jianqiang over and ask him to take you there." "It's okay, Jia, I'm really fine, go and do your work," Jiang Chen said, and walked away from Jia as if running away. Jia looked at Jiang Chen's back and sighed. She was still worried, so she followed Jiang Chen out of the door. The BB player in her waist kept ringing. She knew it was the guest who was urging her, and she didn't bother to care about him. After seeing Zhang Chen go out, she walked towards Wanghai Tower. Jia followed him, keeping a distance of 7 or 8 meters. She followed him until she walked to the front of Wanghai Mall and saw Zhang Chen turn in. Knowing that he was going back to the office, Jia sighed again and turned back to Heiken Hotel. Zhang Chen opened the door of the office, walked in, closed the door behind his back, and didn't turn on the light. He walked to his seat, sat down, and wiped his face with his hands, only to find that his face was covered with tears. He sat there, trembling all over. In front of his eyes, he flashed over and over again Gu Shufang puffing up her chest, raising her chin slightly, not squinting, walking out of the door a little arrogantly. Her hair is wet. Zhang Chen finally lost control and rushed to the ground in the darkness, retching again and again. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 285. Cao Qiaoqing opened the door of his office and was startled. He saw Zhang Chen lying on his desk, asleep. He was still carrying a backpack. There were cigarette butts and cigarette cases on the floor beside his seat. There were cigarette ashes everywhere on the table, a whole carton of cigarettes was opened, and 2 or 3 packs were scattered. The door of the cabinet was open. It was obviously Zhang Chen who took the cigarette from the cabinet and left it open. Cao Qiaoqing walked over and called softly, "Mr. Zhang, Mr. Zhang." Zhang Chen woke up, his eyes were red and swollen. He seemed confused for a while before he recognized Cao Qiaoqing. He looked outside and saw that it was already broad daylight. He asked, "What time is it?" 9 o'clock, Cao Qiaoqing said to him. Zhang Chen shook his head and said to himself, "Why did I fall asleep here?" Cao Qiaoqing stood there, a little embarrassed, and asked, "Mr. Zhang, are you okay?" Zhang Chen shook his head and said it was okay. He looked at the mess on the table and on the ground. He knew that it was not okay, so he stopped talking. He stood up and realized that he still had his satchel on his back. He took it off, threw it on the chair, and said, "I'm going to wash my face." He staggered for 2 steps, then stood firm, and said to Cao Qiaoqing mockingly, "I have been sitting for too long, my feet are numb." He walked out the door, and the sunlight outside hit his face suddenly, making him startled. He squinted his eyes, his feet were floating, and he continued walking towards the pool. He felt like he was floating over. On the road, people from the construction site passed by him from time to time. They were stunned for a moment, looked at him, and then passed by without saying a word. Zhang Chen himself realized something. He thought his face must be ugly. He lowered his head and subconsciously covered his face with his hands when he walked past the workers sifting sand by the sand pile. Zhang Chen arrived at the edge of the pool, turned on the faucet, took a handful of water with both hands, and washed his face. He felt a splitting headache, nausea, and his throat was very uncomfortable. It was as dry as a chimney. He knew it was because he smoked too much and was drunk. He retched twice, but nothing came out, but strings of water hung from his mouth. He took another cup of water with both hands, poured it into his mouth, gurgled it a few times, and then spit it out. His throat still felt uncomfortable, his head still hurt, and the saliva in his mouth couldn't stop flowing. Zhang Chen simply turned on the faucet, put his whole head under the faucet, and poured water on it. His feet kept shaking, and he could hardly stand. He quickly supported the edge of the pool with both hands. The water was still rushing towards his head. When Cao Qiaoqing saw Zhang Chen going out, he quickly took out the broom and dustpan behind the door and cleaned the floor. Seeing that there was still water in the plastic bucket at the door, he took the rag hanging behind the door and twisted it. Wiped the cigarette ashes on the table. He carried the bucket and walked to the door. He originally wanted to go to the sink to wash the rag, but when he saw Zhang Chen standing there, rinsing his head, he gave up again and put the bucket back where it was, thinking, later say it again. He thought for a moment, walked out of the office, and walked towards the gate on Wuzishan Road. He walked out of the gate and turned into a small shop nearby. He paged Lu Ligan. After waiting for a while, Lu Ligan came back. Cao Qiaoqing said to him, "Brother Lu, come here and see Mr. Zhang. He slept in the office last night." Lu Ligan originally agreed to have lunch with Lu Yun before leaving. After talking to Cao Qiaoqing on the phone, he told Lu Yun, "No, I want to go over and take a look right away." "What happened to Zhang Chen?" Lu Yun asked. Lu Ligan said, "I don't know, this boring guy, who refuses to talk to me about many things, how can he tell other people about Xiao Wu's apprentice? He just said that he didn't even return to his room yesterday and was sleeping in the office all night long." When Lu Yun heard this, she also knew that the matter was serious. She said that you should leave quickly and call me if you know what the situation is. Lu Ligan said yes. He stood there stunned for a while and cursed, "What's going on? We were fine when we broke up yesterday." "Could it be related to Lily?" Lu Yun asked. "Whatever happens to him must have something to do with Lily." Lu Yun thought for a moment and asked, "Do you want me to call Lily?" Lu Ligan waved his hand quickly and said, "No, no, 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 these two are self-propelled cannons, and you don't know when they will explode. It's up to me to handle it, otherwise it will become more and more complicated." Lu Ligan said and walked out. Zhang Chen stood at the edge of the pool and rinsed his head with water for more than 10 minutes before he felt a little more comfortable, but his feet were still shaking. He put his hands on top of his head, slid down, and used his hands to remove the hair from his hair. The water was decanted, then he raised his head and shook his head, water drops splashing around. At this moment, his head hurt again, and he felt nauseated. He retched twice more, and there was still a lot of water dripping from his mouth. He rinsed his mouth with water again, then turned around and walked back. He felt that his feet were touching the ground, and his whole body was limp. Zhang Chen walked back to the office and just sat down when Cao Qiaoqing came back. He was carrying a bag in his hand, which contained a bowl of soup noodles. He gave the soup noodles to Zhang Chen, and Zhang Chen put all the small bag of yellow chili sauce in the bag. I poured it in and took a sip of the soup. It was very spicy and sweat broke out on my forehead, but I felt a little better. After finishing a bowl of noodle soup, Zhang Chen had a thin layer of sweat on his face and back, and then he felt that his soul seemed to be back. He told Cao Qiaoqing that he was drunk from smoking, and now I feel much better, thank you. Cao Qiaoqing originally wanted to remind Zhang Chen that today's reserve fund was not enough, but after thinking about it, he didn't say anything. He just said to Zhang Chen, "Mr. Zhang, if you are fine, I will go to the market." Zhang Chen nodded. Cao Qiaoqing walked out and thought, there is no money in the bag today, but the goods that should be brought in still have to be brought in. They are all old customers. Tell them that I owe them the payment for the goods and pay them tomorrow. There should be no problem. If there is a problem, then damn it, I won't come to buy from you next time. After Cao Qiaoqing left, Zhang Chen sat there in a daze for a while. Unable to hold on, he lay down on the table again and fell asleep again. Lu Ligan walked in and saw Zhang Chen sleeping on the table. He walked over and put his hands on the table. Zhang Chen woke up, raised his head and looked at Lu Ligan blankly. Lu Ligan saw that his face was pale. When he was about to ask him, Zhang Chen suddenly stood up, startling Lu Ligan. Zhang Chen pushed Lu Li's pole aside and rushed towards the door. Before he could squat down, he finally spat it out with an ouch, and there was a pool of Hainan noodles on the ground. Zhang Chen stood up and Lu Ligan went to help him. He threw Lu Ligan away and staggered towards the pool. Lu Ligan returned to the office and saw half of Cao Qiaoqing's left behind by the door. He picked up the bucket of dirty water, walked outside the door, washed away the vomit on the ground at the door with a splash, and then went to the pool with the bucket. Zhang Chen took a handful of water, rinsed his mouth, took another handful, and washed his face. Lu Lipol came over with a plastic bucket and asked, "What's wrong with you?" "Withered. Smoking too many humming cigarettes and getting drunk." Lu Ligan laughed and cursed, "You are crazy, you can get drunk with cigarettes, how much have you smoked?" "I don't know." Zhang Chen shook his head, "about 7 or 8 bags. One night." Why smoke so much?" "It's nothing." Zhang Chen shook his head and walked back. Lu Li took half a bucket of water and walked a few steps to catch up with Zhang Chen. Of course he knew that there couldn't be nothing. It seemed that Zhang Chen didn't want to spend more time. "Explain." Lu Lipol carried the water, followed him into the office, put the water on the ground, and asked, "Lily came yesterday?" "No." "Did you talk on the phone?" "I haven't contacted her for several days." Zhang Chen said. Lu Ligan looked at Zhang Chen, doubting the authenticity of his words. "If it weren't for Jin Lily, what the hell would have happened to you?" Lu Ligan knows the stick, and when he decides not to tell you, it's useless no matter how many questions you ask, he won't speak even if you beat him to death. Lu Ligan sighed secretly. Fortunately, although Zhang Chen was exhausted, he still looked calm, so nothing should happen. The phone on the table rang. Zhang Chen sat there motionless. Lu Ligan reached out and picked it up and said hello. The other party said hi and asked, "Who are you?" Lu Ligan smiled and said, "Of course it's me." The other party was silent, and Lu Ligan asked, "Who are you looking for?" The other party didn't say anything and hung up the phone. Lu Ligan cursed, "Who is this? It's inexplicable, you crazy woman." Lu Ligan looked at Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen was still sitting there blankly. Lu Ligan thought for a while, then stood up and walked out. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 286. Lu Ligan walked out of the gate on Wuzishan Road and turned right. There was a small shop with a public phone on the counter. Lu Ligan picked up the phone and wanted to call Jin Lily. After thinking about it, he tried to dial her office number first. The phone was picked up after ringing twice, and Jin Lily's voice came from the receiver. "Lily, are you back?" Lu Ligan asked. "You came back the day before yesterday, what happened? What's wrong with you and Zhang Chen?" "He was alone and stayed in the office all night last night." "How do I know?" "I'm just crazy," Jin Lily said, "I haven't contacted him for several days." Lu Ligan cursed in his heart. They were really not a family. If they didn't enter the same family, they would even tell lies. "Lily, this is meaningless," Lu Ligan said. "What's the meaning?" "You know what it means." "I don't know what you mean, Pole." Jin Lily took the microphone and suddenly became angry and cursed, "Damn you, Pole, he stayed in the office all night, you come to me to ask for punishment, tomorrow he will. If you jump off the building, will you still ask me to pay for it with your life?" "Yes, as you wish. If you don't do it well, this bastard will really have that day." Lu Lipol also became angry. After scolding him, he slammed the phone down with a bang. The shop owner looked at him dissatisfied. Lu Ligan glared at him, and he muttered, "What are you doing? Just get angry, mother-in-law, just give her a beating and you'll be at ease." Lu Ligan was laughed at by him, and he said, "Look to see if the phone is broken. If it is broken, I will pay you a bundle of tape, Bashi." The shop owner laughed and said, "You're a reporter, you're a total hooligan." Lu Ligan came here every 2 days to buy cigarettes, wine, and water. They were very familiar with it. Lu Ligan waved to him and didn't even pay the phone bill. Even if Lu Ligan paid this small amount, the other party wouldn't do it. After that, Lu Lizan said, "Okay, I'll climb up now. Goodbye." Lu Ligan returned to Zhang Chen's office, but Zhang Chen was not there. He walked to the door and looked around, but he didn't see him. Lu Ligan went back and sat and waited for a while, but Zhang Chen didn't see him either. When he came back, the BB machine in his waist rang. Lu Ligan went back and it was a customer. He asked him to come over immediately. Lu Ligan stood up and walked out of the door. He thought that Zhang Chen should have gone to the construction site and he would come back later. When Lu Ligan went out to make a call, Zhang Chen was sitting there, unable to hold on any longer. He stood up, put on his bag, and walked to the front desk of the hotel. When the front desk supervisor saw Zhang Chen, he came over quickly and asked, "Mr. Zhang, why do you look so ugly?" Zhang Chen smiled and said, "It's nothing." He didn't sleep well and was sleepy. "Give me a room." "Okay, Mr. Zhang, please wait a moment. It's only around 10 o'clock in the morning, and most of the guests haven't checked out yet. Even those who have checked out have taken to their guest rooms. The waiters are still cleaning, and no floor report has come down to say that some rooms have been sorted out and are available for sale." The supervisor and the front desk receptionist said, "Call upstairs and ask if the guest room has been tidied up." The receptionist dialed the number one floor after another. After reaching the 9th floor, she found a room and told the supervisor, 906. The supervisor gave Zhang Chen the 906 key tag. Zhang Chen said thank you and went upstairs. Zhang Chen entered the room, threw his backpack on the sofa, fell on the bed without even lifting the quilt, and fell asleep on the quilt. "I slept until about 3 o'clock in the afternoon." Zhang Chen was woken up by his BB player. He vaguely smelled a fishy smell. When he opened his eyes, he realized that a large piece of quilt under his head was covered with his own saliva. It was wet, and his face was always soaked in this pool of saliva. Zhang Chen felt stunned and sick for a while. He got up and walked to the bathroom. He saw in the mirror in front of the sink that half of his face was white and swollen from soaking. He quickly grabbed a towel, washed his face with hot water, and sniffed his nose. Finding that the stench was still there and that it was coming from his hair, Zhang Chen simply walked into the bathtub and took a bath. "After drying myself, I took out a nightgown from the closet and put it on. I walked back to the room and found a large pool of yellow stains on the white quilt, like a map." Zhang Chen cursed himself. What he was thinking about was whether the waiter who cleaned the room would think he wet the bed when he saw it. He pushed aside the quilt and sat down on the sofa. Then he felt very hungry. He picked up the room service order on the desk, looked at it, and picked up the phone. He felt that he was very hungry today. "I ran out of soup noodles, so I insisted on ordering a bowl of soup noodles with 2 poached eggs. I was specifically told to make it very spicy. I also ordered half a wenchang chicken." After putting down the phone, Zhang Chen remembered that he had been woken up by the BB machine earlier, so he walked to the bathroom table and took out the BB machine. There were 2 messages in it. One was from Lu Ligan, and he said, "You, where the hell did he go?" There was another one from Cao Qiuqing, who said, "The boss lady has been here, and I said you went to the stone market." Boss lady? Zhang Chen didn't understand who the proprietress Cao Qiuqing was talking about. Was it Jin Lily who had been here? If she came at this time, she must have been tricked by the Pole's scaremongering. Zhang Chen picked up the phone. There were direct internal calls between the hotel room and the office at the construction site. Zhang Chen dialed it. The person who answered the phone was Cao Qiuqing. Cao Qiuqing asked him where he was. Zhang Chen said that he was upstairs. "I slept in 906. Sleep." Cao Qiuqing said oh and breathed a sigh of relief. "Who did you say has been here?" Zhang Chen asked. The boss lady, the big boss lady, accountant Gu, she came to see you before, and I told her that you went to the stone market. Also, brother Lu has been here twice. Okay, I understand. Zhang Chen interrupted him. Wait a minute, Mr. Zhang, there's one more thing. I told the boss lady earlier that I don't have enough reserve funds here, so she has arranged for 10,000. Okay, I'll fill in the paperwork for her. Zhang Chen said, by the way, don't tell anyone that I'm upstairs. I'm starving. The meal I ordered hasn't arrived yet. Eat before going back down. I know, Mr. Zhang. Gu Shufang went to the construction site to look for him. Zhang Chen was not surprised. He knew that the call Lu Lipol received in the morning was also from Gu Shufang. Gu Shufang thought that her secret had not been discovered by him. Last night, she must have. I have been waiting all night, waiting for myself to go home. Go home? What kind of house is that, a doll's house? Zhang Chen felt that he was just a silly doll. Zhang Chen felt sick for a while. The doorbell rang, Zhang Chen opened the door, and the meal he ordered arrived. The little girl who delivered the meal knew Zhang Chen. When she saw him, she was stunned for a moment and muttered, "Is it you?" She stood there, hesitating, and stretched her head to look inside, but did not continue to enter. Zhang Chen was surprised and realized that she must have misunderstood. In broad daylight, she was not at the construction site below, but ran upstairs, still wearing her clothes. Pajamas, 9 times out of 10, are here to deal with the lower body. Zhang Chen shouted, come in, don't think about it, there is no one else." The little girl blushed and walked in with a tray. Zhang Chen continued to explain, "I didn't sleep well at night, so I came here to catch up on some sleep." The little girl put down the tray and said with a smile, "I know, Mr. Zhang, please eat slowly." The little girl exited the door. When she reached the door, she smiled at Zhang Chen again. This smile was playful and meaningful. Zhang Chen shook his head helplessly. Lu Ligan said, "This is a city where the air is full of lust. Everyone is not surprised by this. The explanation I just gave will only give people the feeling that there is no silver in this place." After a big bowl of noodle soup and half a wenchang chicken, Zhang Chen felt comfortable and energetic again, so he could go downstairs to work. He picked up his clothes and pants, but couldn't help but frown. Not only were they wrinkled, he also smelled an unpleasant stench of smoke mixed with the smell of sour food. Zhang Chen really wanted to throw them away. "But I can't just go downstairs in my nightgown. There is no choice." Zhang Chen held his breath and put them on. He almost fainted from the smoke. When he walked out of the room, he felt very inferior. When he met anyone, he would stay away. Even more so when he met an acquaintance. "I have the nerve to take the elevator. How will I be despised by others in that sealed space?" Zhang Chen chose to run downstairs through the fire escape next to the elevator. When he got to the front desk, he threw away the keycard and told them from a distance that I would come over to check out later. After arriving outside and standing in the hot sunshine, Zhang Chen felt better, but he couldn't just go to the office. He felt that he should go back and change clothes, but he was afraid of going back to Wenmingdong, so he thought to himself, he might as well go to the mall and buy a suit. When he walked to the door of the mall and was about to go in, Zhang Chen heard a voice saying to himself, "Why? What have you done wrong? Why should you be afraid?" Zhang Chen was stunned for a moment, but instead of turning into the mall, he continued walking forward, past Heiken Hotel, and continued towards Boa South Road. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 287. Zhang Chen walked back to Wenming East and went downstairs. The door downstairs was ajar as always. Zhang Chen pushed the door open, turned around and closed the door, and then walked inside. When he walked to the second floor, he saw that Gu Shufang had already reached the stairs of the third floor, and said with resentment and pity, "Why are you coming back now?" Jiang Chen looked at her expressionlessly, without saying a word. He walked to the door of his room, opened the door, walked in, and closed the door smoothly. He opened the closet and took out the clothes he wanted to change. At this time, there was a gentle knock on the door. Jiang Chen turned to look at the closed door. The knocking on the door continued. Jiang Chen ignored it and took off his dirty clothes and pants one by one and threw them into a plastic bucket. The knocking on the door continued, getting louder and louder. Jiang Chen still ignored it. He put on his clothes and pants neatly one by one, took a deep breath, picked up his bag, and then opened the door. Gu Shufang stood at the door, a little sullen, and asked, "What's the matter with you?" As she said this, she wanted to go inside the door. Jiang Chen turned sideways, walked past her, and walked into the office opposite. Gu Shufang was stunned for a moment and then followed. Jiang Chen walked to his desk and sat down. Gu Shufang came over and stood beside him, staring at him. Jiang Chen took out the receipts that he had stuffed into his bag last night and divided them into 2 stacks. Without raising his head, he tapped the 2 stacks of receipts with his left hand and told Gu Shufang, "This is for reimbursement, and this is for arranging funds typed out." When Jiang Chen spoke, his tone was cold. After he finished speaking, he remembered something and continued, "By the way, I will pay you for the reserve fund that Cao Kuoking received from you." Jiang Chen opened the drawer, took out a payment receipt from the drawer, and filled it out. "What are you doing?" Gu Shufang clasped her hands on her chest, looked down at Jiang Chen and asked. Jiang Chen continued to write without saying a word. Gu Shufang took a heavy breath and asked, "Tell me, what do you want to do? Where did I offend you?" Jiang Chen shook his head without saying anything. Gu Shufang was furious. She swept the documents to the ground and shouted almost hysterically, "Tell me, tell me, tell me. What are you going to do?" Jiang Chen ignored her and continued to fill in the payment receipt. Gu Shufang reached out and snatched the pen from his hand, broke it with a snap and smashed it to the ground. Her face was flushed with anger. Jiang Chen raised his head and looked at her quietly. Gu Shufang saw that his face was pale and there were tears in his eyes. Gu Shufang sighed, softened her tone, and asked, "If you have anything to say, can't you tell me?" "I don't want to say it." Jiang Chen shook his head, was silent for a while, and then continued, "I don't want to continue like this." "What's the meaning?" "It's over. Between us, I think it should be over." Gu Shufang was stunned for a moment, biting her lip, and then asked after a while, "Why?" Jiang Chen lowered his head and remained silent. Gu Shufang sighed again. She said softly, "Even if I die, you have to let me die clearly, right?" Jiang Chen raised his head and looked at her, and said to her cruelly, "Last night, I saw you going to Heiken Hotel." Gu Shufang's face turned pale. She stood there, trembling all over, almost unable to stand. There was no need to continue talking. At this moment, Gu Shufang also understood. She staggered a few steps and walked to her office. She sat down at the table. For the first time, she didn't wipe the table and chair with her hands. Both of them were silent. After a long time, Gu Shufang sighed almost in a whisper, "That happened a long time ago." "I know," Jiang Chen said. Gu Shufang shook her head and said, "You don't know, I was alone in Heiken at that time, helpless. Besides, I am also a woman, a young woman, and I also have normal physiological needs." "I understand, so I'm not angry," Jiang Chen said. "Do you understand?" "What do you understand?" Gu Shufang sneered, "Do you know how difficult my life is? Besides, I want to end it. Really, after meeting you, I only have you in my heart, and I want to be single-minded and only good to you, but at this time, I can't." "Yes, you can't," Jiang Chen sneered, he is still valuable to you, and so am I. Don't say that, Gu Shufang almost begged. Whether you believe it or not, I have never thought of using you. Why should I use you? I just need to keep you stuck. Anyway, I have nothing to do with the construction site. All no. Of course, I'm still wondering why he runs to me every day. It turns out he has a mission. Zhang Chen continued to sneer. Gu Shufang shook her head. No, really, he doesn't know our relationship. I never asked him to spy on you or watch you. Well, it doesn't matter anymore. Whatever he or you want to do has nothing to do with me. The two were silent again. After a while, Zhang Chen heard Gu Shufang's sobs. Gu Shufang said, I have never begged anyone. Really, in a few months, I beg you. In a few months, I beg you. In a few months, everything here will be over, and we can go back to Suzhou. But I don't want to go back to Suzhou with you. I'm fine here. Why should I go back to the mainland? Zhang Chen said. Gu Shufang was stunned, and after a pause, she continued, okay, we won't leave Hainan, we will go to Sanya, Wanning, Danzhou, Wenchang, wherever you want to go, we will go wherever you want, even if you want go to Wuzi Mountain. Don't you understand? I don't want to be with you anymore, Zhang Chen said coldly. When I see you, I will think of him. I can't pass my own test. Gu Shufang was shocked and sat blankly. The phone rang between the two tables. The two of them were sitting, and neither of them reached out to answer it. The phone kept ringing for a long time. Gu Shufang wiped her tears with a handkerchief. After the ringing stopped, the two of them continued to stare blankly. Sitting on the ground, Gu Shufang raised her head and looked at Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen lowered his head and looked at his desk. Gu Shufang wiped away her tears and said, raise your head and look at me. Zhang Chen raised his head and looked at her. Gu Shufang sighed and asked, is what you said true? Zhang Chen nodded. Tell me, Gu Shufang said, with a little hope remaining in her heart. Okay, then let me tell you clearly that what I said is true. I don't want to be with you, Zhang Chen said coldly. Gu Shufang bit her lip tightly. She stood up and said softly, you will regret it? She turned around and shouted again, I will make you regret it. She walked out of the office door and went upstairs. Zhang Chen sat there. The most difficult stage was over. He felt a little disappointed, but also a little relaxed. He grinned, shook his head, and said to himself, regret. I have nothing to regret. In a few months, we won't even see each other again. Although he said that, Zhang Chen still felt a little distressed when he thought that he and Gu Shufang were really over. He stood up, picked up all the receipts on the ground, and placed a stack on Gu Shufang's desk. He didn't care about reimbursement or payment. You can divide it yourself. You can pay or not pay if you like. If you don't pay, it will be delayed. It's your own project. Aren't you eager to return to Suzhou? Zhang Chen sat down in his seat, opened the drawer, picked up a pen again, continued to fill out the payment receipt, stood up, and placed it on top of the stack of receipts. When he walked back, he stepped on the broken pen on the ground, looked down, and simply kicked it again. He sat for a while and no longer wanted to go to the construction site. He felt that what he needed most now was to have a good drink. Zhang Chen picked up the phone on the table and picked up Lu Ligan. After a while, the phone rang. As soon as Zhang Chen picked it up, he heard Lu Ligan yelling from the phone, where the hell have you been? You haven't found it for a day. I'm back to Wenmingdong. Get out. I just called for so long and no one answered. I'm in the room. Go away again, I sent you so many messages and you didn't see them. The pager is in the room now. I'm in the office. Why is it so noisy over there? Where are you? I'm in a small shop here in Dongmen Food Market. What the hell are you doing there? Shopping for groceries, Mengping and I will treat him to dinner. As Lu Ligan said, Mengping called from the side, Zhang Chen, come here too. I can't find you in front. Okay, where to eat? Zhang Chen asked. Seafood hot pot, Mengping's office. By the way, we are not far from you. Do you want to pick you up? Lu Ligan asked. Zhang Chen quickly said, no, I'll go there by myself in a car. Okay, you can go now, we have bought it and are getting ready to leave. If you arrive first, just wait at the door. We'll add some more dishes. We're going to have a big meal today, Mengping shouted again from the side. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 288. Zhang Chen, Lu Ligan, and Mengping arrived at Mengping's company almost immediately. Zhang Chen found the door of Mengping company and saw that the door was closed. Other companies nearby had also finished get off work. The light in the corridor was very dim. Zhang Chen wanted to go downstairs and wait for them at the gate. As soon as he walked back to the elevator the door opened, and Lu Ligan and Mengping came out with many vest bags in their hands. Seeing Zhang Chen, Lu Ligan asked, are you cured? Can you continue fighting? Mengping asked curiously, what, Mr. Zhang, are you sick? Zhang Chen quickly said no. Lu Ligan said, it's not considered a disease. Once a month, his end comes. Mengping laughed loudly, I didn't expect Mr. Zhang to have this function. The three of them walked to the door of Mengping's company while chatting and laughing. Mengping handed the bag in his hand to Zhang Chen, took out the key from the bag, and opened the door. The three people went in, and Lu Ligan saw that the company was much tidier than the last time he came here. Lu Ligan shouted, not bad, after all, there are 3 women working for you, this company looks much cleaner. Of course, the person I, Mengping, picked will definitely not be wrong, Mengping said proudly. Mengping found a few newspapers, spread them on his desk, took out a kerosene stove from a cabinet, and took out a steel pot from under his desk, and then ran to another filing cabinet. Took out soy sauce, vinegar, and other seasonings. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan laughed. Lu Ligan cursed, what kind of treasure are you hiding? Are you hiding it so well? Mengping shouted, where is the hidden place? I am using the space rationally and eliminating traces of my daily life. This office should look like an office. You, which woman educated you? When I came here last time, there were straw mats and towel blankets piled on the sofa, Lu Ligan cursed, and Mengping laughed. The seafood they bought was all processed by the stall owner. The parts that needed to be disemboweled were disemboweled and the parts that needed to be minced were chopped into pieces. For a lobster, even the urine was released, the back was opened, and the shrimp threads were removed. Now, just put all the ingredients under the faucet and rinse them with water. Mengping lit the kerosene stove, filled the steel pot with water, and sat on the stove. Lu Ligan arranged the bowls and chopsticks for the 3 of them. Everyone took what they needed and adjusted their own seasonings. Zhang Chen was overjoyed. Lu Ligan not only bought small oranges and yellow chili sauce, but also bought the assorted sauce, that's all. Mengping took a wash basin and poured all the cleaned seafood into the wash basin without distinguishing it. He brought it over and told them that this was also an assortment. Assorted seafood was also available, and everyone got what they needed. Hainan is a good place. Seafood is cheap in the wet market, especially at this place. Buying seafood is like buying vegetables. It's great, Mengping babbled. Where's the wine? Zhang Chen asked. Mengping patted his head. He said yes, why did he forget to take out the wine? He ran away, and after a while, he came over with 3 teapots in one hand and 2 bottles of Urquatu in the other. He placed the 3 teapots in front of the 3 of them. Zhang Chen stared at what was in front of him. Looking at the teapot, he was surprised to find that there was a bright red lip mark on the teapot. Meng Ping also saw it and smiled. I won the lottery, Mr. Zhang. This girl is pretty. I didn't even touch her, but you took away my first kiss. The three people laughed wildly, but Zhang Chen didn't take it seriously. He changed the direction of the teapot and said to Meng Ping, "Hey, I'll save the first kiss for you. You can hold her to sleep at night." The three teapots were filled with wine, and the water in the steel pot had not yet boiled. Meng Ping raised the teapot and said to them, "Brother, I am poor and can't afford to treat you to a restaurant. It's not bad to have a look here, a large private room of tens of square meters, please enjoy some seafood." Lu Ligan scolded, "Get out of here, you're a hypocrite. Half of the seafood in this basin was paid for by me." Meng Ping rolled his eyes at him and chuckled, "Sir, why are you so stingy? I can't even lend you this flower as a gift." Zhang Chen scolded, "What kind of flower is he? At most, he is a foxtail grass." Come on, the three of them raised their glasses and became very excited. Putting down the teapot, Meng Ping and Lu Ligan said, "Sir, I promise you that when I get rich, I will be the first to invite you two seniors to have a luxurious meal. You can choose where you want to go, order whatever you want to eat." Lu Ligan smiled and said, "Then when will you get money? Can I wait until I get it in my life?" "Soon, very soon," Meng Ping said, "as soon as my license is obtained, I will go back to Wuxi to make money. I am like no other person here, and I still have a little face." "Didn't you say that you borrowed all the money that should be borrowed?" Zhang Chen asked. "They are two different things. Mine is a personal loan. I go back with a license. That is company financing. The people I want to finance are also companies and banks. They have nothing to do with the individual. I can borrow a few copper coins on my head." "Okay, then let's first wish you success in financing. If you don't succeed, we won't be able to get over this addiction." Lu Ligan raised the teapot and suggested, and everyone was dumbfounded again. "By the way, how did you two meet today?" Zhang Chen asked Lu Ligan and Meng Ping. "Whatever happened to me, I went to find him," Meng Ping said. "Didn't he get his license? I went to consult him about his license. By the way, Pole, it's a long story as you said earlier. We'll talk about it later. Now, can you tell me?" Lu Ligan slapped the table and said, "No need to gossip, just listen to me and express my gratitude to Section Chief Ma." Lu Ligan immediately told the two of them about the process of applying for a license in the past few days. The two of them were stunned when they heard it, especially when Lu Ligan talked about the scene where his family went out twice. Zhang Chen cursed, "This is stupid. The section chief can be regarded as a great treasure in Hiken. Yes, shorts, slippers, and a hemp." Section chief Lu Ligan shouted. Meng Ping said, "It's so dangerous, Pole. If your mistress hadn't saved you in the end, would you have been enslaved by this old man until you were nothing left?" When Zhang Chen heard this, he couldn't help but laugh again. Lu Ligan cursed, "It's an inappropriate choice of words. That's my neighbor. What kind of concubine? You are strictly prohibited from using such insulting language to tarnish the great friendship between our neighbors." "Nonsense, what kind of neighbor? If it weren't for your mistress, who would work so hard for you? Mr. Zhang, do you know that girl? Did I say something wrong?" Zhang Chen knew about the relationship between Lu Ligan and Wen Wen, and felt that Meng Ping's word was used harshly, but the meaning was correct, so he laughed and did not answer. It's over. I'm already skinny and thin, and my wallet is leaking. If I meet this old man, will I be squeezed and hummed by him in less than 2 days?" Meng Ping shouted. "It's impossible for a person to do it, but it's entirely possible for a scumbag," Lu Ligan said. "Maybe he will step on another foot." Meng Ping frowned, and he was thinking hard. Zhang Chen was watching from the side, knowing that he really didn't have much money. How many days can he last for a treat like this? He also felt that his license was a bit suspended. Yes, Meng Ping suddenly shouted, startling Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan. Meng Ping looked at Lu Ligan and said, "Gangzi, lend me your mistress." Lu Ligan looked at him, not knowing what he was talking about. "Didn't you say that one thing will bring down another thing? That mistress of yours just happens to be able to defeat Lao Ma. Otherwise, I don't even have to look for Lao Ma. I will give your mistress 10,000 yuan. I don't care what means she uses. She just get this notice from me, and when it's done, when I have money, I'll give her another 10,000. As Meng Ping said, Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan's eyes also lit up. They thought this method was good. For Meng Ping, it saved money, and for Wen Wen, it made money. Zhang Chen smiled and said, "And that 10,000, is it an option again?" "Yes, 50% option, but I will cash it in as soon as possible." Lu Ligan said, "Yes, I will go back and ask." "Don't ask, press her and make her do it. Tell her that this is how she makes money. Think about it, how many people want to find Lao Ma every day? If 1/10 of them pass she has become rich. She can charge others a higher price. I am her concubine's friend and the first one to pave the way for her. She will give me a big reward." Meng Ping's words convinced Lu Ligan first. He thought that Wen Wen was right. Wen Wen could get rich quickly through this. When he went back, he had to enlighten her. Lu Ligan asked Meng Ping, "Have you completed all the preliminary procedures?" "Okay, I submitted all the materials the day before yesterday, and they should be in Lao Ma's basket now. Didn't you ask me to stand still for now, so before I met you, I didn't even ask them to do it." "Which is the pre-approved company name?" "You can write it to me later and I will let her go," Lu Ligan and Meng Ping said. Wanda Meng Ping and Lu Ligan said, "Hainan Wanda Real Estate Development Co., Limited, I am the legal person and shareholder. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 289. Because it was fresh, the seafood was cooked in clear water and tasted delicious when dipped in dipping sauces. The three of them ate a lot and drank a lot of wine. They finished 2 bottles of Urquhart, but before they could finish their enjoyment, Meng Ping brought over another box of Huangmei beer. While they were drinking, they chatted endlessly. What they talked about the most was their past and future. Meng Ping said, "There are 3 of us. You 2 are in the business establishment and I am in the cotter establishment. Throw these away and run to Hainan. Come on, how many people will think we are fools, and how many people are waiting to see our jokes? Yes, in the eyes of ordinary people, we are almost the same as self-employed people now," Lu Ligan said. "They think that only those who have been released from labor reform or can't find a job will become self-employed. How can they? You understand our behavior, but you are still better than us. At least 3 of us came here together, but you dare to come here alone. What's the matter?" "I just think that God will give this person a great responsibility, and that person is me." Meng Ping patted his chest, was stunned for a moment, and asked, "What did you say next?" Lu Ligan said, "You must first strain your mind, work your muscles and bones, starve your body and skin, and deplete your body. That's right, that is to say, if I want to become a Sri Lankan, I have to be bruised and bruised first, right? What's so scary about this? Come on, I'm ready. I just want to come to Hainan and be bruised and bruised." Meng Ping shouted. "What the hell?" Zhang Chen glared at him, "Are you going to get yourself bruised and bruised?" "Yeah, aren't you prepared for this?" Meng Ping asked strangely. "You humming, we?" Zhang Chen felt that the alcohol had already hit him, his head was dizzy, and his eyes were bloodshot. He looked at Meng Ping, and suddenly burst into tears. He felt that he had never been so wronged as he is now. You damn it, you're going to get a bruise on your face, but do you know that I'm already bruised and swollen? Lu Ligan and Meng Ping were at a loss when they saw Jiang Chen burst into tears. Lu Ligan vaguely knew why Jiang Chen was wronged and what he was crying about. Although he didn't know about Gu Shufang, he knew about Jin Lili. I knew that Jiang Chen had been holding back, but now he couldn't hold it in any longer. Cry, cry, if you want to cry, let's all come together, prepare, cry. Meng Ping looked at Lu Ligan, who shook his head and said nothing. The two people patted Jiang Chen's shoulders and comforted him. Jiang Chen shook his head and said, I don't know, you don't know. Lu Ligan suddenly yelled, what don't you know? Others don't know. Don't I know? Jiang Chen, I know you are humming wronged, but am I not humming wronged? Tears also flowed from Lu Ligan's eyes. He thought, the nose was bruised and the face was swollen. The day I left Yongcheng, he was still like an idiot. He didn't know anything. He didn't know that he was destined to have a bruised nose and face. He thought of the letters and postcards he had sent, but they were lost in the sea. He thought of the coconuts he carved with his knife. He thought of the spring festival, when he went to the airport day after day and waited. He really understood what it meant to be starry-eyed. Yes, when you look through and see nothing, your eyes become empty. Jiang Chen and Lu Ligan were crying. Meng Ping picked up the teapot and wanted to have a drink with them, but he also felt sad, and tears rolled out of his eyes. He murmured, it's hard for you, it's hard for you, you think I'm not hard, isn't it hard? Damn it, I force myself to smile every day, come on, drink this first, let's just cry. Meng Ping raised the teapot again, Jiang Chen and Lu Lipol also raised it, and the three of them drank. Meng Ping put the empty teapot on the table, patted them both on the shoulders, and said to them, do you know what it means for me to leave Wuxi? My fiancée, I tell you, I am not bragging, she is the best woman in the world. It is impossible for me to leave her without the courage of a strong man to cut off his wrist. No, it was more than just a broken wrist. My whole body was split in half. My half stayed in Wuxi. My other half came to Hainan Island. It was my other half. He is a disabled person. On the night we said goodbye, the two of us did nothing. Let me tell you, we really didn't do anything. We just hugged each other and cried. We cried and cried. From about 10 o'clock the night before, we cried until the third day. At about 4 o'clock in the morning the next day, she sent me to the station, and at the station, the two of us hugged each other and still cried. Damn it, why are you running out after such a life or death separation, Lu Ligan cursed. She encouraged me. Do you know what she said after I had a deep conversation with her? Meng Ping asked. Jiang Chen and Lu Lipol shook their heads. She told me that she had thought clearly that Wuxi, a place that could contain my people, could not contain my heart. If she refused to let me leave, she knew that I might not leave either, but, I will regret it all my life, and I will never be happy, so I advise you to leave. Can't you let her come with you? Jiang Chen asked. I won't let her. Since I'm ready to get bruised and swollen, how can I let her get bruised and swollen too? Besides, I'm very scared, Meng Ping said. What are you afraid of? Jiang Chen asked. After asking, he felt in a daze that he was asking questions knowingly, but damn Jin Lili came with you, so what about you? I'm afraid, I'm telling you, hard days temper people, but they also test people, and people are actually very fragile and cannot be tested. I'm afraid that in hard days, two people, we will fall apart and become strangers gradually. I know this too well, and I am too afraid that we will become like this. Instead of becoming cruel, it is better to leave beautiful thoughts. When Meng Ping said this, he remained silent. Lu Ligan and Jiang Chen knew that he still had something to say, so they waited. After a while, Meng Ping said, "My own family is a living example." He looked at Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan and smiled miserably. "My parents are like this. Both my parents were teachers in middle school. When I was a child, they had a very good relationship. Our family of four, my parents, my sister and I, were really a happy family that everyone envied. But later, you know, that era. Abridged here. It just dragged on. Until later, the quarrel was no longer possible, the children were getting older, the status of the two of them in the family was getting lower and lower, and the people shrank. They stopped quarreling, but at home, it was like there were in our feuding enemy country. If my sister and I were not at home, they would share a room with the door closed, and they would have to open a crack first to see if the other person was outside. The same goes for eating. Everyone cooks and eats his own food. The bowls, chopsticks, oil, salt, sauce, and vinegar are all clearly separated. Even the dishes left on the table after eating are not touching each other. I think it wasn't that they didn't want to divorce, but they didn't even bother to say a word about divorce to each other. They didn't say a word for several years. To put it harshly, one of them opened the door a crack and saw the other person falling outside. They would only close the door, but would not say go out and see how the other person was doing. Do you understand? I am just afraid that the hard days will make me and my fiancé like this one day. You may say that there are couples who share will and woe. I don't know and I don't believe it. I think even if there are, those are definitely a minority. They are non-human beings. I don't dare to bet on this. I would rather stop in time before things get worse. Otherwise, we are likely to become like my parents. Sometimes I look at my parents and sympathize with them. Really, I feel that their entire life is miserable and dark. Even if there are some bright colors in the beginning, later on they also painted it back and completely blackened it, and I don't want to be them." Meng Ping stopped talking at this point and stopped talking. The three of them were silent. Although he was already drunk, Lu Ligan still filled everyone's tea jars with wine and touched them. Zhang Chen did not drink all the wine in one gulp, but stood up, holding the tea jar in his hand, and shook it while drinking. He staggered to the sofa and fell down. The teapot fell to the ground, making a clanging sound. Meng Ping and Lu Ligan both laughed. Meng Ping pointed in the direction of Zhang Chen and yelled, "Ha ha," and fell down. His body slid limply from the chair to the ground. Lu Lizan was sitting there alone, giggling. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 290. Lu Ligan fell asleep while lying on the table. When he woke up, it was already past 4 in the morning. The kerosene in the kerosene stove on the table had burned out and went out automatically, and the water in the steel pot had also dried up. He looked around and saw that Meng Ping was still curled up on the ground, sleeping soundly. Zhang Chen had woken up and was sitting on the sofa, smoking a cigarette alone. When Zhang Chen saw Lu Ligan wake up, he stood up and walked over, pointed at Meng Ping on the ground, and said to Lu Ligan that he couldn't wake him up no matter how he screamed, "Come on, help him." Although Lu Ligan had a severe headache, he still stood up. One of the two men held Meng Ping's feet, and the other put his hands under his armpits, lifted him to the sofa and put him down. The two sat down, facing each other, and smoked another cigarette. Lu Ligan felt that he was a little more awake and asked Zhang Chen, "Let's go." "Let's go," Zhang Chen said. "I'll take you back." "Good." The two stood up. Zhang Chen looked at the mess on the table and wanted to clean it up. Lu Ligan said, "Don't worry about it. He has 3 women and they will clean it up." Lu Ligan rode to the door and stopped. The sky had faded a little and it was no longer so dark. Zhang Chen got out of the car and shook his head. Lu Ligan asked, "Can you go upstairs by yourself?" Zhang Chen nodded, "It's okay, I've woken up from the wine a long time ago, let's go." Lu Ligan turned the front of the car and rode away with a bang. Zhang Chen pushed the door open and walked in the dark. He didn't need to turn on the lights. Even with his eyes closed, he wouldn't fall. For this place, he has long been an old horse who knows the way. He walked through the front hall out of habit, crossed the patio on the first floor out of habit, climbed the stairs to the second floor out of habit, walked forward based on habit, first past the bathroom, then the corridor, then Xiaolin's room, and then it was his room, then the stairs, and he continued to go upstairs. When he reached the middle of the stairs on the second and third floors, Zhang Chen woke up and stopped. He could no longer get used to this habit. He was a little stunned. He looked upstairs and then at Xiaolin's room. He quickly walked downstairs step by step, walked to his own door, opened and closed the door, leaned his back against his own door, and then breathed a sigh of relief. He walked to the bed, set the alarm clock to 8 o'clock, fell on the bed, and continued to sleep. Lu Ligan returned home, went upstairs, past his room, and looked at Wenwen and their rooms. The door to their room was open and the lights were dark. Lu Ligan walked into their room and did not see Wenwen, only Qian. Qian was sleeping there alone. Lu Ligan fell down and hugged her. Qian twisted her body and cursed angrily, "Get out of here, you smell of alcohol and it stinks to death." Lu Li stood up and rolled back to his room, fell down and fell asleep. 8 o'clock. The alarm clock woke up Zhang Chen. He took a toothbrush and towel, went to the bathroom, brushed his teeth, took a shower, returned to the room, changed clothes, and went out. When Xiaolin got up, Xiaolin was stunned for a moment when he saw Zhang Chen. After muttering for a while, Zhang Chen probably heard what he was saying. "Why are you here? Indeed, it has been a long time since I met Xiaolin here in the morning." Xiaolin always thought that Zhang Chen had gone to live with Lu Ligan and the others. What he didn't expect was that every morning, after Gu Shufang drove them away, he would go and wake up Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen has been upstairs above him. Zhang Chen felt sad for a while and said nothing. He just patted Xiaolin on the shoulder and went downstairs. 9 o'clock. Lu Ligan woke up out of habit. He walked outside the door and turned around to see that the door to Wenwen and their room was still open. He walked over and took a look. Wenwen had come back and was lying on the bed with her arms and legs crossed. Lu Ligan left. He went over and slapped her hard on the thigh. Wenwen screamed and cursed sleepily, "You're crazy, get out." On the other side, Qian shouted, "It's so noisy, ah." Lu Ligan continued to pat Wenwen and said to her, "Come here, I have something to tell you." Wenwen turned over, ignored him, and continued to sleep. Lu Lizang took her hand and pulled her up. He almost half pushed and half hugged her out of the room and took her back to his own room. When he sat down on Lu Ligan's bed, yawned, rubbed his eyes, and cursed, "If you fart, hurry up. Who did you go out with last night? None of your business. Is it Lao Ma? Has Lao Ma called you again?" Wenwen stretched out her hand, "Do you still want to give me a tip? Give it to me." "Get out," Lu Ligan cursed. Wenwen giggled, closed her eyes, lowered her head to the side, and almost fell asleep again. "Hey, wake up, let me tell you." Lu Ligan patted Wenwen's face with his hand. Wenwen closed her eyes and waved her hands in front of her, as if to drive away mosquitoes. "You go find Lao Ma again in the afternoon and help my friend to get the notice. My friend will give you 10,000, Lu Ligan said. Wenwen opened her eyes suddenly and looked at Lu Ligan steadily. "What did you say?" "I said, you go find Lao Ma again in the afternoon and help my friend get the notice. My friend will give you 10,000. In a few days, he will give you another 10,000. Real? Of course it's true." Wenwen stretched out her hand, and Lu Ligan wondered, "What for? 10,000, bring it. Where the hell are you going to get it this early in the morning? You still can't trust me?" If he doesn't give it to you, you'll chase me. Are you worth 10,000? Ween Wen stared at Lu Ligan for a while, tilted her head to the side, closed her eyes, and looked like she was about to fall, so Lu Ligan quickly supported her. Ween Wen yawned and waved her hands in front of herself. She said, okay, I believe you, hold me until I wake up at 2 o'clock, don't bother me now. She said and fell on Lu Ligan's bed. Lu Ligan shouted, I left the company name on the table. Ween Wen didn't answer him. Lu Li took a look and saw that she had fallen asleep. Lu Ligan shook his head. He walked to the table, took out his notebook from his bag, tore out a page and wrote on it, company name, Hainan Wanda Real Estate Development Co., Limited, legal representative, Meng Ping. Lu Ligan put the note in a conspicuous place on the table, then took his toothbrush and towel to the bathroom. After washing up and coming back, he put his bag on his back, walked out, closed the door, walked to the next door, and put Kinkin's the door was also closed, and then he went downstairs. At about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Lu Ligan found a public phone, rang Ween Wen, and stood there waiting for a while. Ween Wen didn't call back. He rang the call 3 more times, and continued to wait for a long time, but still no call came back. Damn it, Lu Ligan cursed, knowing in his heart that she must still be sleeping. Unfortunately, Lu Ligan could only ride back to Binya village. Lu Ligan went upstairs and opened his door. Sure enough, he saw Ween Wen still sleeping there. Lu Ligan walked over and shook her awake. Ween Wen sat up on the bed and looked at Lu Ligan confusedly. The first sentence is to ask, why? The second sentence is, why am I in your room? Lu Ligan didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and cursed, it's 2 o'clock, get up quickly and go find Lao Ma. Why should I go find him now? Didn't you get your license back? Damn it, I was chatting with you for a long time this morning and you didn't even listen to a word. Ween Wen smiled and nodded, pointing 2 fingers at her ears. When you were nagging, I would always go in here and run away. She sat there, dazed for a while, then finally remembered something, suddenly became excited, and shouted, 10,000. By the way, did you say give me 10,000? Yeah, that's all you remember. No, 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 I remember everything. I didn't ask you to detain me. Why did you come back? It's such a big sun outside. Lu Ligan scolded, then you have to wake up. Have you ever detained me? Ween Wen said while searching around, where is my BB camera? She threw Lu Ligan's pillow to the ground. Lu Ligan cursed and just picked up the pillow from the ground. The towel was thrown down by Ween Wen again. All the things on the bed were thrown away. Ween Wen turned around and didn't know. Seeing her BB camera, Ween Wen suddenly became nervous and cursed, damn it, did you have a thief here and stole my BB camera? Lu Ligan scolded, you are too unsure. If a thief comes in, can you be let go? If you can't even seduce the thief, why would Lao Ma care about you? Ween Wen smiled playfully, okay, this is a compliment for my beauty, I agree. Lu Ligan lay down and looked under the beds on both sides. Finally, he saw Ween Wen's BB machine under the steel wire bed with piles of things on it. Lu Ligan reached in and took out the BB machine. Look, it's okay, not broken. Ween Wen stared blankly, and when she saw Lu Ligan's hand holding her BB player, Ween Wen remembered that she was sleepy and was woken up by the BB player placed next to her pillow, so she casually it was thrown. Ween Wen finally finished washing up. She went back to her room, brought her cosmetics, and sat down to put on her makeup. Lu Ligan looked at the time, it was almost 3 o'clock, and kept urging. Okay, okay, you are naturally beautiful. Even if you look at you in old age, your bones will become soft. Let's go quickly. Ween Wen rolled her eyes at him and cursed, what do you know? Should you go up or should I? After a while, he added, let me tell you, Lao Ma likes my lips the most if they are painted like a chicken's butt. He says it's so sexy. Lu Ligan couldn't help but laugh out loud.